Welcome back to a new episode of Weekly Chew. On today's show, we'll be showing you how to make French onion soup and inside-out chicken Kiev. Here are the ingredients you're going to be needing for the soup. Cheese, baguettes, 3 large Spanish onions, butter, flour, sugar, bay leaf, pepper, wine, beef broth, and olive oil. For our main dish, we are going to need flour, pepper, salt, chicken, seasoned breadcrumbs, penne noodles, 3 eggs, basil, olive oil, garlic butter, 1 can of whole tomatoes, some more bay leaf, a small onion, garlic, and celery. Let's get started. We're going to start with our soup, and we're going to start by peeling our Spanish onions. Peeling off the first layer. For this recipe, we will be using 3 large Spanish onions. We're using Spanish onions because they're a lot sweeter than most other onions. We're going to start by cutting them in half and then cutting them down into strips.
That's onion soup.
Next, we're going to turn our burner on to a medium-high, and then we're going to add 1 heaping tablespoon of butter to the pot. Add in some olive oil, about 3 big tablespoons of olive oil, and we're going to let this heat up. Once the butter is melted and the whole thing is starting to heat, we're going to add our onions. It may look like a lot right now, but they will reduce as they cook and bring out the sweetness. So now we're going to reduce the heat to a simmer. And then we're going to add about a ½ teaspoon of sugar. Throw in our bay leaf, and then we're going to stir. It's going to take about an hour on a low heat before we do anything else. Every once in a while within that hour, you're going to stir and mix it around.
See how much more it's reducing there? That big pot, it's going to reduce a quarter of that.
As you can see, the onions are starting to turn a golden brown. But we're not done yet. They still need to further caramelize. At the end, this is what you want. You want them a nice golden brown. Now that it's ready, we're going to add about 1 heaping teaspoon of flour. This will help thicken the broth. Now we're going to add about 1 cup of red wine. This is going to give it some more flavor. I'm going to mix it all around, making sure everything gets mixed well. Before we add the beef broth, we're going to scrape the bottom of the pot to make sure we get all the little bits off the bottom of the pot. Now it's time to add the beef broth. You're going to use about 1.5 liters of beef broth, which is about 1.5 packages. Next, we're going to add a cup of water. About this time is when you're going to turn the heat back to a medium-high. Then we're going to add about a teaspoon of pepper. And we're going to bring to a boil.
Bring to a boil, simmer for 10 minutes.
Once it's brought to a boil, we're going to reduce the heat back to a simmer. And then we're going to cover and let cook for about 10 minutes. Now would be a good time to start with the rest of our ingredients. We're going to take some baguette bread that we cooked ahead of time. We're going to cut and make croutons. Once they're cut, we're going to put them on the pan. We're going to put them in the oven just long enough to toast them.
No problem at all.
After 10 minutes, the soup should be ready. Now, we're not done yet because we're going to boil our soup and place on a pan. This is because we're going to put this in the oven once we've added our croutons and our cheese. So remember, do not overfill your bowl because there's more ingredients going in.
Just a bit more in this one.
Once your baguettes are toasted and ready, we're going to place in the bowl on top of the soup. Depending on how big your bowl is, you'll be able to fit about 3 pieces, as you can see here, or maybe 4. After you've added your croutons, we're going to grab our cheese. We're using mozzarella here, but I guess it's all about preference, and if you prefer provolone or emmental, right now we're using mozzarella. We're going to place on top of the croutons, enough to cover the whole bowl. And then we're going to place these in an oven, heated to about 425. And we're going to heat until the cheese is melted and slightly caramelized.
Cooking at about 425.
Once you pull them out, this is what you get. Be careful not to eat it immediately. This is very hot.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the shrimp.
And there you go. French onion soup.
Yeah, I'll just let it cool down first. It's extremely hot right now.
Now we're going to move on to our chicken and pasta.